Hey, hi, Joe. It's a great pleasure to be here with you today. And actually, we have something great to celebrate, isn't it?
Yes, hi Pedro. Thank you for having me. Indeed, we have something to celebrate. Remember, two and a half years ago, we agreed that we have to transform the workplace. We need to become more data-driven in the services that we deliver in our workplace services. We need to focus much more on the employees, and we need to engage much more with the employees to find out what is bringing him down, which problems does he have, how does his productivity be impacted by the workplace. And we need to become more proactive as a service provider. And here we are, a bit more than 2 years later, Pedro, with our 1 millionth implementation of Nexthink and Atos. Isn't that fantastic?
It is fantastic. And I have to say, you are the first actually partner to reach this milestone of 1 million. In 2 years and a half, that's tremendous growth and tremendous value that we are delivering together to Atos customer. So we are super excited also about the future. So tell us maybe more about what does it mean for your customers?
Well, for our customers, actually, it's kind of we're on a journey, Pedro, because we are actually changing their workplace and how their workplace interacts with their day-to-day work. And to be honest, after many years of doing the same thing over and over again and becoming actually reactive, we are now much more proactive thanks to the implementation of Nexthink. So basically, Nexthink has provided us kind of the insight in the everyday user experience. And again, like I said, a user might have a very bad working network, his laptop might be slow, he might have memory issues and so on. And so now with Nexthink, we really penetrate into the everyday life of our end user and really find out, what is impacting his productivity, what are the main issues, and on top, Nexthink gives us also the possibility to not only fix the problems reactively, but proactively. And I think that's the big differentiator that Nexthink has basically given us. And by doing that, we fundamentally improve the employee experience of our service, which is fantastic.
Excellent. And how do you see this role? I mean, what role do you see Nexthink playing to improve the IT experience of all these companies?
Yeah, when we talk about IT experience, basically, I have to tell you, Pedro, we've been, as a service company, quite reactive. And we've been automating our reactivity, if you like, through the last years, meaning there was always an incident, there was always something to happen. And then we were very good in automating the incident in chatbots, web chats, email interface, and becoming quite effective, but still reactive in fixing the problem. Now with Nexthink, we're completely changing the support paradigm and we're becoming proactive. And with the proactivity, we're building proactive experience centers. We're looking at the same issues that several users have all the time, and then we can see how can we fix that issue proactively for the next user. So you can see that basically we come from a reactive mode, which we were very good and efficient, into a proactive mode, and totally change the digital experience of our end users. So if I may ask you a question, Pedro, how do you see partners like Atos helping customers in the future?
Yes, no, great question. Well, first of all, I think the outsourcing of the workplace, it's really a huge trend today. I mean, 1/3, even 40% of the global 2000 companies, they are outsourcing because it's a very sophisticated job. So it's hard to find this expertise internally, and definitely, MSPs and special Atos has the right expertise to manage workplace. With product Nexthink, we are doing exactly what you said before. We are helping end user computing professionals, workplace outsourcers to become proactive, and sometimes also becoming even predictive, right?
Good point.
So we are going from reactive to proactive and even being predictive, so we can avoid really issues before they happen. Smarter decisions, going to XLAs versus SLAs. So really the modern workplace, the future of workplace, it's about starting with the end user and going backwards, and not the other way around, who has been a little bit more the traditional way.
That's right.
So, Joe, what were some of the companies that you got over the 1 million mark?
Actually, to be honest, Pedro, this collaboration has worked very well for us in pretty much every industry and in every geographical location. Actually, it's quite encouraging and great to see that pretty much every customer sees the potential of, in Nexthink and an implementation of Nexthink together with the services that we provide. And every customer also sees the kind of development we do in the real insights of a single journey of a single user for any kind of industry that user sits in. We have been deploying this at scale for big customers like Scottish Water, BBC in telecom media, automotive companies, and of course also our biggest customer, Siemens, where we had more than 300,000 Nexthink implementations. On top, with the latest COVID crisis and the fact that everybody is now working much more remotely and from home, Nexthink has been a key enabler for us to improve the digital experience for remote home workers and to proactively fix many of the problems that come along with working from home. In fact, Pedro, if I may ask you a question,
Yeah.
how has COVID changed things for Nexthink? Do you see similar trends on the market from your side?
Yeah, absolutely. It has accelerated really. I actually was in a customer event with one of the major, I think it's global 500 company in the world, and the end of end user computing was there, and he said something like, "Our time is now," because the amount of investments people have been doing on end user computing versus data center or application development has always been like a second priority, but right now is the number one priority because everybody's working from home. They have to work, they have to be effective. So COVID has been a huge accelerator for end user computing, and we are, one of the technologies that are supporting their work. Yeah. So, let's change a little bit gears. I have another question from you, Jo.
All right.
So Siemens is one of the key references between, with Nexthink and Atos, and has been up and running since May this year. What are the first reactions and the first values that you are seeing?
So first of all, that's right, Pedro. In fact, Siemens is our biggest install base with over 300,000 devices running on Nexthink. And to be honest, the experience for us and for the customer, by the way, and the end user, has been in one word, phenomenal. And also the customer here sees the huge potential that we see now in becoming proactive and basically, measuring no longer what I would call service level agreements, which is the traditional, in my business at least, kind of outsourcing, level agreement and definition of how we define quality of a service. Now we can really take it to the next level and create experience level agreements with, measuring things like a digital experience index. Without Nexthink, we were unable to basically even start thinking, let aside implementing the digital experience index for Siemens. On the other side, for Siemens, it has also introduced for us the next level of automation. We're no longer automating our reactiveness and fixing things reactively. We're automating things proactively and to become, as you mentioned before, predictive, rather than, let's say, very efficient in our reactive service delivery. And one other example is the virtual client. We're even using Nexthink on the virtual client, and has fundamentally improved the virtual client experience. So I have to say, overall, on Siemens, it has been a fantastic journey for both the Siemens users and for the Siemens customer, as being one of our main customers for Atos.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic to see all this value already in one of the biggest customers for you. Indeed. So really happy about it. And what's next? I mean, let's discuss a little bit about what is the next, the next dream of this partnership together. How do you see it, Jo?
Yeah. So in fact, we would like, to connect Nexthink, and here, we need to think about all the data that Nexthink creates, because it creates a huge amount of data, and data is the new gold. So we want to use the Nexthink data and the Nexthink application, and basically link it back to our reactive tool set like chatbots, web chat, and so on, and basically integrate this much better so that even chatbots can become proactive and can become predictive, and we're almost automating kind of our productivity, right? I think that's important. The other one is, as we're collecting all these data, we're going to get a longer term data set, and we're going to look at longer term trends. So not only kind of see what's happening on the spot reactively, but also see, trends over quarters, over years, because we see that, in a lot of incidents that we fix at our service desk, there are patterns in the incidents, and we want to detect those patterns and fix them also reactively. So dynamic solution, proactivity, and linking the data set with kind of our reactive tool set, I think is basically where we take next. Last point I'd like to say is around cloud. So of course we want to put all the data into cloud so that we can get, let's say, the AI and the machine learning and the processing power that we have behind cloud, combined with the Nexthink data. That's basically a little bit of Valhalla in the future for us. And last but not least, as you know, decarbonization is a big point for Atos. We believe that the Nexthink and the data that Nexthink provides will actually fundamentally help us in lowering the carbon footprint for Atos as a service provider, but also for our end users. So decarbonization is another area and direction of travel that we would like to take with Nexthink.
Excellent.
So in a nutshell, we want to move from a digital workplace leader to the kind of employee experience market leader, Pedro. And today we're celebrating 1 million, but I hope anytime soon, you and I will have a similar kind of interview and we will celebrate our 2 millionth installation of Nexthink. Wouldn't that be great?
It would be great. And I think it's, it's interesting what you are saying, moving from, digital workplace into employee experience. And I think at Nexthink, we are fully committed to this journey with our partners and our customers, and especially with Atos as a leading partner, because even in the terminology, we talk about workplace and then we talk about employee. And I think the key for that is really to start with the employee, to start understanding the personas, to start giving them what they need, to start gathering their feedback, to mix their feedback with hard data into digital experience scores, and then act upon of these scores to improve their experience. So all this journey that we are taking together, it's really exciting, and I think will allow definitely to move into this direction of less technical, less workplace, more employee-centric. And
absolutely,
we are very excited about it.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, and I hope we can do another interview for the 2 million, not in 2 years and a half, but maybe in a much shorter period of time.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to that, Pedro. Thank you very much for this.
Excellent. It was great to have you here. Thanks.
Likewise. Bye-bye.